So for this particular tutorial, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to achieve this transparent corset base for this dress, and also how to go about the lace placement on top of this transparent corset. So without much wasting time, let's dive right into today's video. So for this part of the corset, I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements, which includes my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waistline. So for this particular corset, I'm using about 7 inches after my waistline. Unlike our normal corset, we use 5 inches. So if you don't want to use the 7 inches, you can go ahead and make use of 6 inches also for this point. So I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2 plus half. Now I'll come down by 1 inch. And I'll go ahead to connect this to form my shoulder slant, and to find your chest line, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. Whatever I have, I'll draw out a straight line on that point. Mine is 7 inches, so from the shoulder point, I measured 7 inches down and I marked. Next is to mark back what you have on your shoulder, and you're going to connect it back. After you're done connecting it, you're going to go ahead to place your tape, then divide what you have again into 2. Come out by ½ inch. Here, mark your bust circumference divided by 4. My bust is 33 divided by 4. I have 8.3. I'll connect from that point to the ½ inch and to the upper part of the shoulder. After I'm done marking that, my nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. So now I'm going to mark this starting from the upper part all the way down to my under bust, and I'm also going to repeat this at the waist and also go down to the lower part of my pattern. So after I'm done marking this, I'll go ahead to connect, drawing out a straight line. So after this, you want to go back and mark your dart intake. So I'll be marking 1 inch on both sides of my dart. If you're a plus size or a bit busty, go ahead and use 1.5 inches at this part. And after that, I'll go ahead and place my ruler and connect. And after I'm done connecting, I'll place my curved rule, connect from the bust to the under bust of my pattern also. So after I'm done connecting this now, the next step I'll take is to go ahead and use my marker, and I'm going to go ahead to outline this. After I'm done outlining my pattern this way, the next step I'm going to take is to go up by 1.5 inches. So this 1.5 inches is not a standard. If you have a bigger bust, you should consider using 2 inches. So after this, I'll go ahead and mark back that's my nipple to nipple divided by 2 again. Now after I'm done marking this, I'll place my ruler and connect. After connecting, you're going to mark your dart intake. So for this dart intake, I'll mark 1 inch on both sides. If you're a plus size, you can mark 1 inch here and 2 inches on the other side, or you can decide to use 1.5 inches at both sides. But for a much bigger bust, you can use 1 inch at the center and 2.5 by the side of your cup. Now you're going to go ahead to mark your bust circumference divided by 4. So this dart here now, you might not necessarily need it. Just add ½ inch and add your sewing allowance of ½ inch, because the base of this corset is a transparent corset. Now you mark your under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure this dart intake you have there and replace. So for your waistline, because this is a transparent corset base and you don't want to cut out your pattern so many times and go back to rejoin, I will snatch out my waist directly. So I want to take out 2 inches from my waist. My waist is 28 minus 2. So that 2 inches, if I take it out, I have 26, which I divided by 4. I marked, replaced my dart intake, and I added my sewing allowance. So for here, I'll go ahead and mark my hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. So for this pattern, you can also use a dartless corset to achieve this corset, right? But going around the cup area might be difficult to understand in some cases, so I'll just go ahead to use this pattern for this. So I'll just go ahead and connect all my lines, and after connecting, so while connecting towards this side, you notice that it has like a little conical effect. You don't want to connect it directly to your waist. You want to draw out a conical effect at this point. So, but that conical effect should be your hip measurement, because while looking at this pattern you notice at the hip part it's fitted, like the dress is fitted on the hip part of this dress, right? So you want to use your actual hip measurement but create that conical effect by the side of your corset. Now I'll go ahead to connect. So now I'll go ahead and measure 7 inches after my waistline, because that is what we'll be using. Also measure 7 inches here. Go ahead to connect my line. So at the end of the corset at the side, you can come up by 1 inch or you can leave it at that 7 inches. So next is to mark your bust dart. To get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist at the back and your shoulder to waist at the front. My shoulder to waist at the front is 17 inches. My shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. So if you take out 15.5 from 17 inches, you have 1.5. So that is what I marked at after the bust line, that is 1.5 inches. So after this, you want to at least come down by ½ inch at the bust or just at the bust. Now I'll be connecting my cup, but I'll go in by ½ inch and then I'll start connecting my cup. So when I'm connecting, I'm going to try and make it round. So I'm looking at what we have on this pattern so that I'll get exactly what we have there. So try and make your cup round on this part, that is the upper part. So after I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead and use my marker and I will blend it out very well and go ahead to reconnect my cup. So after I'm done reconnecting the cup, this is what I have. So if you don't want to go this deep to the bust, you can go ahead and leave it at the chest line. But what we have on the pattern stopped at the bust or ½ inch under the bust. So place your curve through and connect. And after you're done connecting, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 and add half. So if you're working with someone that has a bigger bust, you're going to mark the nipple to nipple divided by 2 and add 1 inch to accommodate the bust by the side. So after that, you blend in your dart this way, and after you're done blending it, you're going to go ahead to connect from the upper part of your pattern all the way down to the side this way. So this is what I have after I'm done connecting, and I'll blend in my cup. So to get this little twin and neckline, stylish neckline, mark 4 inches there, come in by 1 inch or half here, and then go ahead to connect. So it's either the lace has this design, or you can just go ahead and create the design on your own and then turn it up with your lace, that is double your lace. And so at this point you want to mark 0.3 inches there, that is to get rid of any bulginess or make the sleeve part relax very well. So now I'll place my tape and I'll come down by 3 inches or 3.5. So looking at what I have on the phone, I'll just go ahead and blend my dart out. Then I'll draw out my shape. So another way you can achieve this is actually sewing your corset pattern, and after you're done sewing it, you can now trim it off. So you can see in some Instagram reels, you see people after making their transparent corsets, they now go ahead to cut it off and go ahead to wrap it. I'll go ahead and I will cut out my pattern. And while cutting it out, at this point, I'll blend in my dart to make sure it matches, and I'll cut out the rest of my pattern. So if you have any questions so far, you can go ahead to ask. And after cutting this at the cup, you're going to blend it. So I will use my tape to hold this part of my cup, and then I'll go ahead to cut out this side. So we are going to make our cup into a 3-part corset. Now we're going to take the measurement from your bust to your under bust. Make sure that they both align. So on each part I have 3 inches, and also measure these parts again. So you're supposed to have the same measurement from this bust point to the upper part of your chest line, and from your bust to the under bust part of your cup at both sides. So if not, go ahead to adjust. That way, if you don't have the same measurement, sometimes your cup might not come out very well or might be difficult to join. So I want to convert this to a 3-part corset. From this middle part, I'll extend it to the lower side this way. This is to create a curve on this cup here. So from here, I'll just go down a little. So what I'll do now is to place this on another pattern paper and I'll trace it out. So I'll go ahead and trace this out and then blend up the upper part very well. So after blending it, I'll just go ahead and draw out the shape I have here. So I'll just cut this out and keep that aside. So make sure that what you have here matches your main cup so that you don't have a different cup altogether. So that will be one piece and I'll go ahead to cut it out. So this is the shape I have, and now you go ahead to join your cup. So I'll be doing a little illustration so that you understand also when you're joining your corset piece. So let's say we are joining our corset now. You're going to join your cup this way. So after joining your cup, you're supposed to have this deep feel, like your cup is supposed to be deep, especially if you want to use it for bust caging, or if you don't want to use a bust caging, you can use your already made bra cup. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape it up and tape it up to the other side, and you see how deep our cup is because of this 3-part corset effect on the cup. So if you want to make a 3-part corset and your cup pattern is not curved already, so it will be difficult for you to have a deep cup. It might be deep, but it will not come out very well. Like it won't be that deep after you're done fleshing and you're done boning. It might not really give you that curve that you want. So you can see my cup, although my bust is very small, 33, you can see that my cup is deep. So this is what your cup should be looking like before you start caging it or start adding a bra cup to this. Your cup should sit very well after you're done joining before any other thing. So let's say we are sewing this dress, you're making a transparent corset, and remember this center piece, you're going to cut it on fold to avoid plenty joining on this dress. Now after that, you join it to the side. So for this particular pattern, you're going to sew your transparent corset separately first before you start attaching the yoke to the dress. So for the yoke of the dress, you're going to attach the back and the front together before you can now go ahead to attach it to the main corset base. Just like you see in some reels on Instagram, on TikTok, you have to make this base first before you attach the yoke or do any lace placement on it. So let's say I am sewing my corset or I'm joining my cup to my corset. So after I'm done taping it, you're going to see the effect. You see how deep the cup is and how it is sitting. So now you're not supposed to attach this yoke to this part. You're supposed to sew the back pattern and attach it. Like you're going to join the front and the back and then join your cup. So this yoke should come last. That is after you're done making your base, but I'm just attaching it because this is an illustration. This is just to show you how the dress